Okay, so the first step is to attach the handlebar mount to the handlebars. Make sure that when you locate the handlebar mount that the Allen screw is pointing out toward the brakes. A little trick I like to use when I'm attaching the handlebar mount is to loosely attach PowerPod to the mount so that you can grab the bottom of the mount with the PowerPod. Also, notice that the wind sensor of the PowerPod is pointing toward the front of the bicycle. I've started the process of attaching the mount to the handlebars. I do not tighten the screws. This is so that I can rotate the mount on the bicycle to put the PowerPod in the correct position. Note the PowerPod can rotate back and forth inside the mount. Pull the mount back until it hits the tab. That's where you want it to be. Before I tighten the mount screws, I'm going to push down on the front of the PowerPod until it hits the stop in the mount above it, and then I'm going to rotate the mount until PowerPod is approximately level to the road beneath it. This is the final position for things and where I'm going to tighten all the screws. When correctly attached, the wind port points toward the front of the bicycle and all the screws are tightened so that PowerPod cannot rotate even when you press hard on it. PowerPod requires the use of an ANT Plus speed sensor. If you're using a traditional speed sensor with the magnet, make sure the magnet passes close to the speed sensor. If you're using one of the newer accelerometer-based ANT Plus speed sensors, make sure that it is mounted on the front wheel of your bicycle immediately beneath PowerPod. I've paired my speed sensor to my bike computer, but to be absolutely sure it's working, I'm going to lift the wheel of the bike and spin it. I'm looking for speed on my bike computer. When I see it, I know that the speed sensor is working. When you're ready to begin the pairing process, click the button of PowerPod. You'll see its light show solid red, which means that it's ready for pairing, but the pairing process has not yet been completed. To begin the pairing process, press and hold the PowerPod button for 4 seconds. Its light will begin to flash green, indicating that pairing is underway. The light will continue to flash green for up to a minute while it looks for all the different sensors that might be available to it. These could be speed, cadence, heart rate, and even a power sensor if you have one of those on your bike. When it turns solid green, the pairing process is complete and you're ready to ride. When the status light shows solid yellow, that means that pairing has been successfully completed and that your PowerPod is now transmitting power information out to the external world. So the next thing to do is to pair PowerPod to your bike computer. Okay, so I've completed the pairing of PowerPod to my bike computer. I see speed in the top and power in the bottom. Yours, of course, may be different. And the light down below is solid yellow, meaning that it's ready to begin the calibration ride. I've started to ride my bicycle toward the place where I'm going to do my calibration ride. As I ride there, the PowerPod light flashes red and green. This means that it's ready to do the calibration ride, but I have to click the button of it to actually begin the calibration itself. When I get to the place where I'm going to do the ride, I click the button one time and the light begins to flash yellow. Calibration is now underway. I will see watts slowly climb from 1 toward 50, which is the turnaround point. This takes about 3 minutes to go to the finish of the out portion of the ride. As I approach the turnaround point, the watts will climb, and when I reach the 50 watt mark, I'll see 2 things happen. First, the light on PowerPod will show solid red, and second, the 50 watts will freeze and not continue to advance any further. This means that it's time to stop, turn around, and ride back toward the starting point. Okay, I'm now headed back. The light is flashing yellow again, and watts are climbing above 53 toward 100. I'm near the end now, and it's approaching 100 watts. The 100 watt mark will be approximately at the place where you started your calibration ride. When I actually reach the 100 watt mark, you'll see watts briefly go out, and then your PowerPod is fully calibrated and you'll see actual watts on your bike computer.